A Pan-African investment conference in Libreville, Gabon has brought together over 1,000 business leaders and politicians from Africa and across the world to discuss investing in Africa. Well, leaders here have called for investment priorities that takes into consideration a framework of Africa's development priorities. Well, on the sidelines of the investment conference, I spoke with Gabon's President Omar Bongo Ondimba and asked him about investing in Gabon and priorities for the continent.
Gabon, a former French colony, got its independence in 1960. A census in 2009 put the population of this tiny but oil-rich West African nation at 1.5 million people. Since independence, Gabon has had 3 presidents. The incumbent, Ali Bongo Ondimba, has been in power since October 2009. In the early 1990s, Gabon embarked on a political reform path, introducing a multi-party system and a new democratic constitution that paved the way for a more transparent electoral process. Throughout her independence, Gabon has followed a non-aligned policy, advocating dialogue in international affairs and recognizing each side of divided parties. In inter-African affairs, Gabon embraces development by evolution rather than by revolution and favors regulated free enterprise. The country has played an important leadership role in the stability of Central Africa through its involvement in mediation efforts in Chad, the Central African Republic and the Democratic Republic of Congo. Today, Gabon is rated as one of the most prosperous countries in sub-Saharan Africa. It has the highest Human Development Index, according to statistics from the African Development Bank, and the 3rd highest GDP per capita after Equatorial Guinea and Botswana. Gabon's oil revenues have given it a strong per capita GDP of $8,600. However, income distribution across Gabon remains quite skewed, with the most of the wealth in the hands of just about 20% of the entire population. Diversifying the Gabonese economy appears to be President Bongo's biggest challenge yet. Dwindling oil reserves have made it essential that Gabon starts preparing for post-oil economy. In 2010, on the eve of the country's 50th anniversary of independence, Gabon signed accords with 3 Asian companies to build infrastructure and develop palm oil and timber projects in this resource-rich nation. These deals are aimed at diversifying the economy, and they're expected to generate upwards of $4.5 billion worth of investment in the resource-rich nation. The deals are aimed at diversifying the economy, and they are expected to generate upwards of $4.5 billion worth of investment in the country. In addition, the job creation and infrastructure development opportunities that are at the core of these investments will help to alleviate poverty and stimulate social and economic development. Gabon's stability is encouraging. If the country's economy is steered away from its dependence on oil through investment in additional resource-based industries and the service and manufacturing sectors, this West African nation can achieve sustained future growth.
Your Excellency, thank you very much for granting us this time. You're hosting a Pan-African Investment Forum for the 2nd time. What is the significance of this forum? What are the aims? What are the objectives?
We are very pleased to be able to host this forum. Our aim is very simple. We have wanted to put, Africans in touch, in connection with world business leaders. And it was very important because many of the forums we have assisted, we would hear, nice speeches, but at the end of the day, our people need to see more concrete. So we thought that, in Gabon, we would organize a venue where business leaders will be able to talk with African business leaders, but also be able to connect with African leaders, political leaders, and for those leaders to explain what's going on in their country, how open Africa is for business. And we are pleased to say that the 2nd edition of this forum is even more successful than the previous one.
Africa is now being touted as the economic frontier, the next economic frontier. What is your assessment, though, of Africa as an investment destination and of your country, Gabon, for instance?
I'm very cautious, though I'm optimistic by nature, but I'm very cautious about, Africa, the next frontier. This, of course, it's nice. We have huge potential in Africa, but what we want now and when we have the interest, of the rest of the world, is to have more Africans participating. We need more partnership. We Africans have to understand that the time has come for us to be more active. We have business leaders, we have, skilled workforce. So now we can talk and be heard. It's no longer about coming to Africa to do business the way you want to. It's also to do business the way Africans want to. Africans to be heard, exactly what we need, and then go into partnership. A real win-win situation. And that hasn't been really the case in the past. So this is really the message that we want to pass on. Come, Africa's open for business, but please do listen to the Africans and do business with them.
But does Africa, though, have the leverage to enforce that sort of framework you're talking about?
They have.
What is the leverage?
They have. It's just a matter of, ambition and matter of will, but we have. And at this time, we are starting to be heard and listened to. But we need more than that. So I think it's a matter of, ambition, what we really want. And when you know that, and when you have that ambition, and you what's best for your country, then there's no problem.
What is Africa's strategy, though, because there is a lot of international attention now on the continent? There are new partners coming in, China, for instance. What is Africa's strategy?
It is clear that what is crucial for us, the development of infrastructure, needs for more energy. When you fly over Europe, you fly over America, at night, there's always something, when you look at outside your window, some light. You fly over the continent, it's dark. That goes to show you, what our needs are. So we need to develop those. We need to develop infrastructure to be able to develop, industrial project, to connect people, and this is where really the continent lacks, is behind compared to others. And of course, it demands, a lot of funds, but we have the potential. The continent is rich, so we can afford that, provided that it's done the right way.
When you look at the continent, though, when you look at your country, Gabon, who is it that Africa wants to partner with in, in those sectors that you're talking about, in building Africa's infrastructure, in lighting up the continent?
We are inviting just anyone who really wants to come to Africa, make money, and help us develop our countries. We are no prejudice against anyone, provided just that, we have our own laws, and then people coming here respect those laws. But it's not a question about preference, that I'd rather have this one or rather have this one. At the end of the day, it's business. And the one who has a good business proposal is the one that is interesting for me. And the one that has the means to come and help me develop my country is the one interesting for me. And if I can be friend with that partner, even better.
Most African countries now, of course, have been independent over 50 years or coming on to 50 years. But even with our new partnerships, Africa is still an exporter of raw materials. How is that going to change? Is that going to change at all, or is it business as usual with our, in the same way as with our traditional trading partners?
Mm-hmm. It has to change, as you rightly said, and that has to do with the political, will on our part. When I took over, I started changing, that, like in the wood sector, we've stopped the export of, logs. I said, well, there needs to be, processing here. And we've done so, and it's been very difficult at the beginning. But now, that sector, 40% more in increase, in production. So we need to apply that to every sector. So that's why I suggested, when we attended the last TICAD meeting in Tokyo, that we put ourselves under pressure, we African countries, and then decide by the year 2020, no more raw goods exported outside the continent. That we should start first, processing in Africa. We don't demand to have, finished, goods, but at least start processing. No more raw, material exported from Africa. So that's a political ambition. And if we all are in agreement with that, our partners and investors will have to follow, because at the end of the day, we also need to create jobs. It's important for us as well as for others. So we don't see why our product should be developed in other countries where they could be done in Gabon, for instance, or in Africa. But in order to do that, it would push us to develop a skilled workforce, change education system, really boost, professional training. So that's why we should fix that ambition in order for us to enhance programs for training, education, all these things.
Is Africa, though, ready for industrialization? And how can countries like China assist Africa in its industrialization process?
I think overall in Africa, we're ready for that. Well, we are. As I said, it's a matter of political ambition. But by 2020, that gives us some time, to achieve that goal. China is a friend of Africa. And we have many Chinese, investors coming to Africa. It's for us to sit down with our Chinese partner and explain to them what we want. They need skilled workforce that we have to provide. But they understand that you always have to be in a win-win situation, because a country needs to be developed, to increase economic growth, and in order for that country to reduce poverty, and then reduce social tensions. If you are able to reduce poverty and then bring down all the positive social tension, then you will even attract more business people. You will need to create the right environment. Now, how am I going to invite investors if the environment is not right? So that's why investors have to speak with us to understand that it's even in their own advantage that we do all these things, that we appease people, that people are happy by the performance of the government, by the job being provided, by training programs, all these things. People then going to be happy, and then that will create a better environment for any investor.
I want to talk about your oil industry now. Gabon's economy is dominated by oil. What is the pillar of your economy, and how diversified is your economy? Because there is talk, if I am correct, that perhaps Gabon's oil is reducing, is on the decline.
Well, as you say, talk, but not really accurate. While Gabon